On very few matters pertaining to football, don't we?
Just the man in the middle here that seems to be the thorn in the flesh.
Well, he's got rid of one player.
Between two roses. Kenny Ingram, the mark, and
gets a short 15 metres,
Yeah.
isn't it? I'd hate to buy real estate off that umpire.
Must be at a premium here, is it?
We must be playing the 15-metre rule.
Well, it's a 15-metre rule for the carnival. We have 50 metres.
Yeah, so do we.
It must be 15 for the carnival. And that was a very short 15.
He's out of touch. Not used to giving 15 metres. Now Ingram. You can see the breeze blowing the jumpers of the players. Breeze coming from right to left across the screen. He allows for it. Enough. Is it enough? Won't quite get the distance. Big pack of players. Won't say an ugly pack. Through for a rush behind.
Yes, and you saw that in the trajectory of the ball, just how strong this breeze is, bringing it back, as Russ called it, I should say, from right to left.
So O'Neill.
Looks a mean campaign, doesn't he? A mean customer.
He hasn't played a real bad game on the back line there, but there's Ingram. He's spent the first half on the back line.
This will be take two.
Bit further out this time without the aid of that 15-metre penalty. O'Neill spills what he could have taken. Good defensive work, Anderson. Up towards half-back, but the VFA really pressurising Clark. And options are plenty. Dyson in short. And the VFA, through Nick Walsh, now have the opportunity. Plucks a little grass from the turf, throws it in the air and says, yes, there is a considerable bit of wind out there. But really it should be coming virtually over his shoulder as he comes in. Gives it plenty of air. It's floated across the front. And that's poor forward play by the Victorians because O'Neill goes up and takes it uncontested.
Terry O'Neill in the defensive pocket for Queensland. He comes out the defensive side. No mark there. Ingram looks to be playing at centre half forward possibly in this quarter of football. McTaggart. Quick kick out of the pack by Johnson. Only as far as Rennett's. Long kick, no one there. Griffiths late on the scene. Oh, good mark, Terry O'Neill. He's playing really well.
You think Griffiths should play in front a bit more, Ross?
I did, but we'll ask the expert, Sam.
Well, it's imperative he does. You know, the first basic principle of football. That's what led to the demise of Preto. Ross, you highlight in the first quarter.
Back to the action. Out wide, the opportunity, Buchanan. Ingram, he's done plenty of good work on the forward line, but Buchanan does better on that occasion. In short, over the back, Lynn. Nice mark, nice judgment.
He's a good mover, Lynn.
Now he's kicking virtually into the teeth of this. Well, Sam said 60 knot southeaster. I think he was exaggerating a little bit.
Quite gusty. Yes, would suffice, I think, Rod.
You can see the trees blowing in the back there. It's strong.
And there's the angle that Lynn has got. Will he make the distance? No, it's going to fall the edge of the square. Good fist down by Clark. Opportunity. Was it a free kick? No, to Johnson. And the VFA out of jail again.
Loose ball at centre field. Taylor, oh, got high.
Too high.
Was that consensus between our two Melbourne colleagues?
No argument there, Roscoe, was there?
Delray, the offender. Taylor goes wide. They have the numbers now. Long shot, but wide. The margin back to 17 points. That was Paul Snare coming out of defence.
Would the driver of the Hobart coach that's controlling the VFA team, would he please come to the ground announcer's office, please? The driver of the Hobart coach.
Well,
off you go, Sam.
VFA team.
That sounds as though they might be planning an early exit here.
For the benefit of the viewers, there was a ground announcement just made. They're seeking the coach driver of the VFA bus.
Clark off to Sheldon. Again, breaking down at half forward. Can't find the space. Looking for Lynn at half forward is Dick Foss.
Oh, good hands.
Back to Lynn. Ingram putting the pressure on. Here comes Vickery. But this, Sam, Rod, if Queensland can hold the VFA, they could cause an upset here.
Well, they've going to have this quite solid win behind them. I guess you'd call it a 3 or 4 goal win, Sam.
Oh, at least, Rod.
Dick Foss in front. Good pressure on that occasion by Rennett's, who has also impressed me with his play.
But
so
it's amazing,
far in the game.
Sorry. The psychological aspect really comes into vogue when sides use the breeze. They feel as though the breeze is going to do the job for them, and they just don't work as hard into it, and before they realise, 15, 20 minutes in the quarter, it's too late. But they haven't registered the scores that they were hopeful of.
Holt in front. High kick. Gee, this is encouraged to wait under that. Delray comes in, and Danny Delray having to ruck at the moment because Jeff Pritchard injured his groin yesterday, the Port Melbourne ruckman. He's out. Sadi Ghazi has got an ice pack on his groin. Williamstown Rovers, so there's Phil Cleary on left, David Coden, the runner, on the right. A bit concerned. Carl, another possession. Kicked it under pressure. Here comes Butterfant. Delray finds McTaggart. He'll use his legs. Long kick from just on the 50-metre line. Just wide.
They're doing what Queensland did in the early stages of the second quarter, aren't they? They're blazing away and not with a great deal of accuracy. That's their fourth behind for the quarter. O'Neill. Nearly good mark to Clark, and belatedly paid by the umpire.
Played a strong man, the big man. Played a strong game. The big man from Springvale.
Here it is again.
Played very well last week against Brunswick.
And probably pretty lucky to be paid that mark on replay.
I don't think there was much in it, Rod. I agree with you.
Going for the long bomb. It's not a bad looking kick. Where are the Flyers? Kennedy from behind again. Get the runner out to him. Taylor. Good hands. Snare. Out wide back to Taylor, but that's really putting him under pressure. That's not constructive handball. And in the end, Snare is forced to paddle it over the boundary line. Paul Snare, former Tassie boy, now up with the Banana Benders.
So we've had 10 minutes of the third quarter. The VFA lead by 19 points, 38-19. Greg Hardiman picks out a free kick. How, I don't know, but it's gone to Kennedy, who thought he was off.
Well, they've got to be careful, of course, of something new to us. Is the order-off rule in operation for the carnival.
Not new to the VFA, though.
Well used over there, I believe.
It is. Rainsford gets a hand pass from Ingham. Under pressure, gets out of it well, though. Over to Butterfant. Oh, not good vision there by Butterfant. Intercepted by Buchanan. Now kick finds Gary Sheldon. Searches out a player in Clark. Inside, calling for it was Dyson, but he goes long. O'Neill has no trouble battling it away from Griffiths, who's caught behind again, Rod Kilmer.
He's done a superb job, Terry O'Neill. He's played on two very skillful full forwards, in Griffiths and Preto, and just as we speak, I think there's going to be an interchange move made with Ross Bursman coming back on the ground in Reno Preto.
Well, Rod Kilmer got rid of Griffiths.
Up it goes. Ingram in front. Down to the ground. Preto. No.
Although in all
Holt.
fairness to the forwards, in particular full forwards, it's not the ideal day. And the manner in which the ball's been delivered to them, it's...
I think that's the crucial thing, Sam, isn't it? It's kick and hope stuff out there for much of the time. And that doesn't give the full forward much chance. Up it goes. Preto from behind. Nearly took two grabs, but there's that man again. O'Neill. Snare. Tries to offload it. Successful to Buchanan. He loses traction. Allows the VFA in. Now the opportunity. Quick hands by Darby. Over it goes to Ingram. There's plenty of running players at half forward. Hand pass over from Butterfant. The kick by Renitz and puts through the goal. And that was better movement of the football.
Well, they've been threatening danger for the last 10 or 15 minutes. It was only a matter of time before they'd found the gap between the tall timber. And Ingram did well here. Spotted Renitz out in his own in the middle of the ground. Well, actually not Renitz. The ball was relayed to Renitz via David Butterfant.
And David Butterfant's done very well. Victoria there, the VFA leading by 25 points. We've had 11 minutes of the third quarter. 10 minutes on screen. Done very well. Umpire McNichol puts it down, the ACT umpire, but Lynn grabs it from the middle, straight down towards goal. Sheldon takes the mark. He's got Evans out wide. And the two Coburg teammates combine well and send it out to Troyan captain McTaggart. Across the centre, Renitz at the back. No one there for support. Adams just kicks it straight over the boundary line. Not very well done at all. Free kick to be taken by Renitz.
Starting to work that out a little bit better, the VFA. They're trying to get the ball across that top end, which is where you should when you're attacking.
Here's an easy goal coming up for the Vicks. Shut the gate as Danny Del Rey plays a merry tune and pops through the goal. So after struggling for 11.5 minutes of this term to get their first goal, the VFA have added 2 in about 45 seconds.
Well, it was a far more promising passage of play too. The long kick and the quick hands on the running Del Rey to an open goal. But the important thing was, Ross, they worked the ball over the top end, out of defence, once again through the agency of Sheldon and Evans, and breaking up the Queensland defence.
Butterford again out of the middle. Loose ball at half forward. Adams through for Queensland. Done well, the solid defender. Kick into the middle. Clark almost brought it down. Kick forward for Queensland by Rewalt. And mark at half forward by Robert Dickfoss. Which way to go? Now on the left foot. Thump to the ground, and Sheldon, brilliant out of defence. Good vision. Off to Carl. Terrific football. Carl goes long. Out to Walsh on centre wing. The VFA have the numbers. In support is Holt. A left footer, long one. Pretto, and in from the side is Del Rey. I thought he marked that.
Yeah, solid mark. Strong mark, Del Rey.
The umpire Hardiman not allowing him to play on.
Got to be behind the mark. Let's have a look at that one again. Well worth seeing.
Across the face of the pack, eyes glued to the ball.
Had control of it well and truly before it was dislodged from his hand. So the opportunity now for Peter Darby to put the third on the board for the Vicks. Ross Booth's very confident. He's already signalled the goal. I don't think he's quite got the distance, has he? Oh, what about the fist? Let's have a look at the umpire. It's a goal. Well done, Ross Booth. Looked pretty ordinary in flight, but you've collected your money. 8th on the board for the VFA, 15 minutes gone of the third quarter, and they've kicked away to have a pretty substantial lead now.
Yes, Rod, they've just broken the shackles now. You know, endeavour and vigour and will get you so far, but that bit of skill. And the VFA have matched it in all those departments that Queensland have dished out. Now their skill level is starting to take over and dictate terms.
Clark wins it in the ruck. Through comes McTaggart. Good side bump on him. Oh, another good one in return by Butterfat. McTaggart's still in there. Hand passes to Walsh. Threads his way through the pack. And the game opening up a little bit. Long one. Rickman at the back. Now at the front. Good spoil. Out to Adams. Recovery. He goes wide. And good thump away by Andrew Johns at half-back.
Did very well, Ross. He's had a good day, Johns.
Guess back in
player.
our studio, we've got Phil Malen, the Springvale coach, and Len Thompson, coach of Preston. I wonder what they're thinking of proceedings.
Probably enjoying being warm. Snare, dispossessed. Out it comes. Walsh. Up long. Reno Pretto was in front on that occasion. It dribbles towards the line. Good work by Queensland. Out it comes Adams. Long, half-back. Lynn at the target. Good gather. Over to Crowley, who's well tackled. Pressure put on him. Out wide. Opportunity with Holt. Can he gather it before the boundary line? No, he can't. 16 minutes gone of the third term, so 4 minutes plus time on remaining. And the VFA have added their 3 goals in about the last 5 minutes as Queensland look as though they're about to make a change with Ian Anderson coming back onto the ground.
Taggart, oh, coming through his lend, but he takes it over. And Sam, look, not mean to make a political speech, but the hardest thing for VFA to adapt to is this 18-minute side. It's just they've had trouble finding space. Phil Cleary looking a little bit happier on the bench, on left of screen. Through comes Ingram. Good hand pass by Walsh. Now Johns finding space. Butterfant, it's been impressive. In front is Pretto this time. Oh, I thought he was, but he didn't have the pace. Here comes Terry O'Neill. Played a very good game at fullback for Queensland. Good use of the football into his captain in Taylor. Under pressure from Johns, takes a good mark.
So Taylor, though, that's not a good, effective hand pass. Rewald in trouble. They're going to get out of jail at the moment. Matthew Kennedy long, but hurriedly. Clark couldn't quite complete the grab. Down it comes. Kerr on the ground for the VFA. Kicks long, a half-forward line. Danny Del Rey take a bow, offloads it quickly. Kevin Dyson swings it back well, and that is poor play by Queensland, who have given away the free kick as Lynn comes off, and Sam Kenkovic's favourite footballer, Reno Pretto, has a chance to kick his second.
Yes, and not only that, but will most certainly do so from about 5 metres out. That's terribly undisciplined football, Ross, isn't it? Giving away a free kick further afield. They've worked so hard. And to give away one on a platter like that. Second goal to Reno Preto. That should give him a boost in confidence. I did detect earlier, Ross, when he came back on the ground, that he really put in a concentrated, hard running. He sprinted about 50 metres to put pressure on one of the Queensland backs, and I just felt that that was a healthy sign that he would get back into the fray very, very quickly.
No, you're right.
50 cents each way Kikovic, I'll call him now, I think.
You're right, he did really put in. Let's watch him for the rest of the game. He has a drink now at full forward as umpire McNichol gets ready to bounce it down. 43 points the margin to the VFA. Nearly 19 minutes gone of the third quarter. They're kicking with the breeze though. Out of the centre with the football comes Buchanan. Long bomb. They've struggled up forward, Queensland. Good VFA defence. One of those defenders is Ingram. Finds Holt. Good hand pass to Sheldon. Carl's loose on centre wing. There he is. Played a very good game. He's got men in board. Decides to kick though. Long, a wobbly one. Preto in front. Good use of the body, Reno Preto. Good vision with a hand pass out to Butterfant. He's got the fumbles. Now time to straighten. Oh, the kick's a shocker. Kennedy underneath it for Queensland. Spills the mark, but it was swirling about in the breeze.
It's a far more spirited effort from Preto, wasn't it? Very well at ground level. Got the ball out. Unlike the Tasmanian counterparts, Ross, you know, we don't disparage for the sake of suppressing them and putting them down. We always give them the we're critical at times, but only highlight the deficiencies, and hopefully they improve. And when they do so,
constructive criticism.
Constructive criticism.
Right.
Oh, dear. I've heard everything. Danny Del Rey with the free kick. And a chance to put the VFA's 10th on the board. I think I can hear the laughter coming from the studios from Melbourne over here. Another interchange to be made. Crowley coming off for Queensland, but Danny Del Rey has kicked one. Is it two? The goal umpire doesn't have to do too much work at all. That's the 10th on the board for the VFA. And they've really kicked away. I think 11 minutes, we said, Sam, into this particular quarter before they kicked their first goal of the quarter. They've now kicked 5.
Yes, the floodgates have opened, and here we see it on replay. And the prime mover that responsible for this turnaround has been this guy in screen now, Danny Del Rey. He's really lifted his game, and as a consequence had a remarkable bearing on the VFA's fortunes. He's played a superb game. He's a strong lump of a lad, very quick, team-orientated, uses his hands well, and kicks the football very well, Ross, doesn't he?
He's only a young boy, I think 19 or 20. He's Danny Del Rey, Williamstown forward. There's a throw out to Walsh. Spilt mark by Walters for Queensland. Allows Del Rey in again. Long bomb. Oh, Reno Preto. What can we say? The screen said it all, didn't it, Sam?
Yes. You don't want me to elaborate upon that as well, do you?
No,
Gee, that was inexcusable, that. That's all I'm prepared to say.
That's enough. Here it is on half-back line. Buchanan, who's battled hard for the Queenslanders. There's a free kick. Advantage rule paid. Ingram. Half-forward line. All up, no one down. Adams, who's done a very serviceable job, throws that one away. Doesn't get penalised. Has another go. That time a legitimate hand pass. Out it comes. Centre wing, Clark. Been impressed with his work, the big fella. He's been clearly on top. Kick forward by Butterfant. And a great mark is taken by Reno Preto, number 30.
And that advantage of that long kick into the forward line to a lead. Far more direct than purposeful.
I think that's a mouthful, Rod. We've got a Protetto playing the VFA too. Also a forward.
And he's missed. So Reno would be looking for better things. Kick 2, one in the first quarter and one since coming back on from a relay kick downfield. But the VFA now looking in pretty good shape, as the siren must sound very shortly for three-quarter time. And Queensland, even though they've got this very strong win, will be struggling, one suspects. in Anderson. Fine mark, solid mark, gutsy mark.
Should have been a penalty of whatever distance, 15 or 50 on, against Holt. Wasn't paid. Johns, I don't know what that was. Finds Holt with a hand pass or throw, whatever you like. Good skills by Walsh. Gets through the pack into Rickman. He's been pretty quiet. Turns, looks for the short pass. It misses the man he was searching for in Dyson. Good smother by Johns. Queensland having trouble clearing it out of defence. Holt, thumbs clear, well done. Walsh keeps it in play. No, he doesn't, says the boundary umpire. There'll be a throw. The lead, 51 points to the VFA. Nearly three-quarter time here at York Park, Launceston.
Clark, as the siren in fact sounds. So at three-quarter time, it is for the VFA in a very strong position. And the major goal kickers for the VFA, Ross Booth.
Well, Lindsay Carl has 2, Danny Del Rey 2, Reno Preto 2, and David Butterfin 2. Singles Derby and Tim Reynolds, and for Queensland, Craig Crowley and Brent Walters.
So the VFA with a 51-point lead looks set to march into the final on Monday afternoon.
Well, as we've just seen, the three-quarter time scores over in Tasmania, VFA 10-10-70, the QAFL 2-7-19. Phil, we've waited a while. Now the third quarter, we've finally seen something from them.
Certainly, and I would have thought there would have been some concern up until the 15-minute mark of that quarter. They obviously were struggling just a bit, but they've rattled on 5 goals to nothing to really grab this game by the throat now.
It's much better form, and I'm sure Phil, standing on the boundary, as we saw through that quarter, may have a little smile on his face at this stage. Well, now, after recovering from that shirt front early in the day, John Bell's back to let us know about the big match of soccer at 5 o'clock.
Yes, it really hurt, Len. Thanks very much. And I think the NSL would be pretty pleased to play some games down in Tasmania. The weather down there certainly looks a little bit better than it is in Sydney and Melbourne at the moment, with rain affecting the National Soccer League. There are no matches today, but there will be 6 matches tomorrow, 3 very important games scheduled for Melbourne. So let's hope that the sky is clear in the next 24 hours or so. Our program tonight really consists of 2 components. The midweek deferred match from round 9, the game between St George and Blacktown, played during the week. St George winning the game, but an interesting contest. And coming in to join us in the studio in person, the Blacktown coach, Les Scheinflug. Be very interesting to talk to him. I'm sure he's going to have some fascinating things to say about the predicament that the NSL administrators face at the moment with all those deferred games. Blacktown at the moment, 5 games off the pace. So that's coming up at 5 o'clock. Les Scheinflug in the studio and the St George versus Blacktown game. But now back to Len Thompson.
Thanks. We'll look at the VFL at the moment. Out at VFL Park, under these conditions, as we've mentioned during the day, it takes courage to play and courage to really fight out a contest. And as we've seen, Footscray were 4 or 5 in front at half-time, and they've been pegged back by St Kilda with some good play from their running players. Not running, you hardly see them at this stage with the mud that's covering them. They kicked 4-3 to a goal in that third quarter, brought themselves to within 6 points, and with some good players I mentioned, Harding's played well for them. Elphingston's moved to the forward line and is doing a good job up there. And of course, something that happens so often, we've got the Doug Hawkins wing at Footscray. We've now got it at VFL Park, where he's played in front of the members for the whole day. We'll look at the current scores in our VFL matches, and out at VFL Park, Footscray are 9-5-59. They're 7 points in front of St Kilda, 7-10-52. Fitzroy only 1-8-14 to North Melbourne, 5-12-42. And at the MCG, the Richmond team has come back 5-13-43 to Brisbane, 3-8-26. Now, Phil, as we lead into some of the highlights, I think that some of the parts we start to see some better team play from the VFA squad, and Butterfin seems to be doing an excellent job at centre-half forward.
Certainly is, Len. He's running all over the ground. He's working very tirelessly. He's covering right down to centre-half back to gain his kicks. Another important player has been Del Rey, who is shifted out to centre-half forward and is doing something that not a lot of forwards have done today for either side, and that's played in front and has been able to take a couple of marks there.
We've certainly seen that the players haven't played in front. When Terry O'Neill, who left league football about probably 7 years ago and has joined the Sunshine up in Queensland, and he's had the forwards, Griffiths from Brunswick, Preto, have been interchanged off him because he's just dominating that position.
Yeah, Sam mentioned that it wasn't an ideal day for forwards. Certainly Backman have dominated this game. But just there with Del Rey playing in front and working the ball out well, they've been able to get control.
Yeah, well, I think what we'll do now is if we can have a look at those highlights so we can make some comments on them, because we will see the improvement in the VFA side in this third quarter.
Yes, Johns has been a very good player palming that ball out. Ingram's worked pretty well across the half-back line, but the VFA just seem to be getting those loose players now, which they weren't able to do in the first half, Len, and been able to rattle on some very quick goals to deflate the Queensland side.
Phil, do you think this means they're going to get adjusted to 18-man a season, 18-man a side next season?
Well, I think the VFA will bring it in, Len. I can see it doing like the NFL and coming in line with that. They're certainly playing a lot better in this quarter, and those goals are going to give them a lot of confidence to run into the last quarter with.
It was interesting watching Darby kick that goal. There's certainly a bit of a breeze blowing over there, and he allowed for the wind. It shows the experience that some of these players from the better sides, like yourselves and Coburg, Williamstown, they're playing well, aren't they?
Very well indeed, and they've been good players, and Renitz has played tremendous off the half-back line. He's given them some tremendous run there, as has Darby through the middle of the ground, so they've got some good contributors there now.
Yeah, your big ruckman Clark's doing a good job at this stage, and I think that obviously with Pritchard out today from a groin injury, that they needed some drive from the ruck, so it would have been a big job for Clark to take on.
Yeah, certainly a blow to the VFA losing Pritchard, but Clark has worked tirelessly there. He's working hard in the centre bounces, and because he's such a mobile player, Len, he's been able to take some marks around the ground also.
They need that. It's one thing that I've noticed about the VFA in my short exposure to it this year, that your ruckman can't be a stilted player, can he? He's, as we commented earlier in the day about Pritchard, and I think Jeff Pritchard goes between thinking he's 6'8" and a giant and being stilted sort of player to all of a sudden he gets involved. He starts playing like your fella Clark, and we can't say Roundy does it, but Roundy certainly, Roundy's a magnificent player, and he just keeps contesting. But you've got to do both things, don't you? You can't just be a one style of player.
Yeah, with the spaces on the wing as it is in the VFA, you must have that run-on type ruckman playing, like a Peter Moore used to be for Collingwood. That sort of player is vital in a VFA side.
Yes. Do you think that we should try and get Peter back at Preston and see whether he'd come out? I think he had a run with Eltham towards the end of last year. He might be the dominating factor that puts Preston back into the competition. I think, Phil, that we're just about ready to go back and have a look at the last quarter. What do you think can happen now? Do you think the VFA can run on and sort of show themselves to be the dominant factor for the final on Monday?
Yes, I think so, Len. They're obviously kicking into the win this quarter, but they seem to have their tails up now, and I could see them going on quite nicely.
Yes, well, we'll head back over to Launceston now with the glowing comments we'll get from Sam Kekovich, Ross Booth and Rod Kilner, and we'll watch this last quarter, and let's hope the VFA keep going strong, as I'm sure Phil Cleary will be enthusing them to do.
With the VFA enjoying a 51-point lead, and Queensland kicking with this fairly strong wind in the last quarter. So still some hope and still plenty of work to do for the VFA side, but you can't really see them losing from here.
Yeah, Rod.
No, Rod.
Sorry, Sam.
Sorry, Ross.
I'll have a go.
All right, sorry,
The
Ross.
wind is very strong, Sam, you're right, and Phil Cleary has the boys really hyped up. A lot of good feeling in the VFA squad. Queensland into attack with the breeze. Johnson, a hurried kick forward.
What I was about to say, Ross, you can never underestimate a Tommy Hafey-trained team. They'll certainly keep persisting and fighting to the bitter end, but it's highly unlikely, even with the aid of this strong breeze, that they can cut back into a 51-point deficit. Well, there's 50-point deficit now, I should say.
Vickery.
They've only managed 2 goals in 3 quarters of football, so it's highly unlikely that they're going to turn around and kick the required 9 for victory in this last quarter.
Vickery needed that one for victory for Queensland, but sadly hit the post.
Free kicks going to Peter Rewalt, being held we're not in possession of the football, said the umpire. David Butterfint, the offender. Rewalt long, square. Plenty of players up, who's down. McTaggart fighting for the ball, smothering it up and not letting it out.
They've just fallen across there all afternoon. Queensland, they've just lacked a focal point in attack, someone that can take that big mark and convert, unfortunately.
Anderson, is he caught with a football? No, says the umpire, I'll ball it up. Yeah, the Queenslanders would have been used to a wet football season, Sam, but not the cool conditions here in Launceston.
Yes, well, it's a far more humid climate up north, but they've had plenty of wet.
Thanks for that, John Holt. I've got a story to tell you viewers in a little while. Out wide, Walsh against you, Sam.
Which one of the 45 would that be?
Robbie Kerr. Good kick into the breeze. Can Delray get underneath it? No, he can't. Snare. Into the middle. Buchanan gets clear. Chased by Dyson. He goes wide. Out to Anderson. That neoprene thigh bandage. Over to Johnson.
Jeez, that's
Still
impressive.
kept in play. Rennett's battling hard. He's played a good game. What, the neoprene thigh bandage?
I like that. Would,
Well,
you,
actually,
would you write that out? I'll use that next week.
Well, look, coming over on the plane, the first thing Sam asked me was, could I have your paper? I want to do the crossword. So now we know where he gets those big words from. Of course, he used all the cryptic clues too. He's too clever for the others. Rainsford finds Clark, and the VFA doing a little bit easier now. Up onto centre wing. Taylor, who's played well for Queensland, the captain. Rainsford the fist away. At the base of the pack is McTaggart, Victorian captain. Through he comes. Good hand pass through the middle. Comes Butterfant, the kick's high. Delray, the ball dropping in the breeze in front. Good fist away by Snare. Loose ball, Delray still fighting in there, but he's lost it now. And
Talking
Queensland
of cryptic clues.
through Alistair Gore. Go forward. Oh, hitting the stomach was McGarry. Wasn't ready for it. And the VFA have the numbers. Oh, could let them in for a goal here. Hits the post.
Actually, Rod, what Ross did omit to tell you last night, that he did help me with the crossword. I had difficulty getting 4 across out. And the it's a 3-letter word, simple one, but I just had difficulty with it. And the cryptic clue was frozen water beginning with I. He promptly trumped it.
I didn't know we were talking about biros and ink. Still. There's a free kick. No, play on the call. Crowley. Half-forward line. Can the Queenslanders do it? No, they can't.
It's been solid hold back across that half-back line.
And there's the other man, Sheldon, who he handed it off to. He's played a great game for mine. Delray clipped around the ear. No free kick. Mark is taken by Draver. Draver up towards the full-forward line. All the Vicks there. The big fist. Ingram, the opportunity. Good work by Quentin Johnson. Now the opportunity. Anderson, left foot. And he drags it across the body, and they can raffle it, and that's a mammoth 15-metre penalty? No, it's not.
Nothing at all. Robbie Evans felt he ought to have got one too.
I think he could have some justification for feeling that, Ross.
Feeling his cheek, he probably thought he was playing on Glenn Giles again. Meantime, the VFA to half-back, in the way is Rewald. Paddled out by Taylor to Crowley. Under pressure, though, the VFA defenders are there in numbers. Out with the footy comes Holt, gives it to Clark. There's a bit of a break here if they can beat Adams, but Darby, I think, pushed Adams in the back. No free kick. The umpire's letting play go on. Socket forward, back to Clark. Kick to kick. Clark goes long. Delray, oh no, it's not, it's Butterfant, a bit of a fumble. Darby caught. And there'll be a throw in at half forward. We've had 5 minutes of the final quarter. Victoria by 49 points.
Just talking to Peter G during the week, Kurd, he had to face the tribunal. He got off apparently then, did he?
Yes, he did. The honorary commissioner looked at it, Sam, didn't he?
Yeah, looked at it, deliberated for quite some time. About 32 seconds, I think, was the official length of the hearing.
I think they have a video there, Sam.
I think it was scrapped, the video.
Amazing what can go into the eraser, isn't it? Up towards half forward, but a good mark taken by Holt once again. Been pretty impressive, that VFA backline, hasn't it? Out wide. Rennett, who's been a very impressive player. And there's certainly one man that'll be able to hold his head very high after the game, Terry O'Neill. He's done a superb job in the last line of defence.
Had a superb day, Rod. And you're right, they have worked the ball out extremely well out of the back line. That's one of the features of VFA football, 16-a-side football, because the majority of their attacks are all launched from defence, and the backmen in particular are all instructed to run the length of the ground virtually in setting up options and plays.
Taggart, here he comes. Down he goes. We heard that in the sound effects mic. Alistair Gore with the long hair. Contrast to Terry O'Neill, there's a section of the crowd in the grandstand, well rugged up against a stiff southerly breeze. Delray wins the knock. Down towards Carla McTaggart. Dick Foss for thinking ahead a bit. Queensland, the Maroons. Up gets Robert Dick Foss. Rod Kilner's got the giggles, so I'll carry on. Thumping forward.
I just worked out who you were referring to before in the call, Ross. That's okay now. In the meantime, it's a VFA free kick and a big man who's really dominated for the VFA in Jeff Clark. He's really not allowed the big man from Queensland in.
He's controlled the big man, Jules, Rod.
Queensland through Paul Snare. Struggle at forward. They're really broken down on the forward line. Darren Vickery, great smother. And now the Vicks are away. Andrew Johns, who's played well, gets it up to the forward line. Butterfant does well. Out wide, the opportunity. Rickman screws it back and has just about popped it through. Goal of the day. Take a bow, Ian Rickman, his first goal, and that was worth waiting for.
Yes, it was a superb goal. He's got that freakish ability, Rickman. I'm not so sure whether... I think he looked initially, if you have a look at him, he tried to see if there was an option in the centre of the ground, but... Gee, it was a wonderful screw into this breeze.
He looks a happy man, with good reason.
He's always elated, Ian. He loves kicking a goal. Had a wonderful day yesterday too, kicking 6.
They've been shared around today. 5 players have 2 goals as they go forward again, Victoria. Nick Walsh paddles it out. Dudley into centre field. No one there. Rennis late on the scene. Adams ducks his head just in time and avoids any contact. Tom Hayford like that. A booming torpedo punt. Must be all of 70 metres. Sheldon takes a good mark. Oh! Costs one from Robert Dick Foss, and there'll be a 50-metre penalty. Watch this mark. Graham Gooch would be pleased with that.
Any of the Englishmen with the state of the test would be pleased with that, I think. Up towards the half-forward line, O'Neill off the ground. It's going to work out. Comes out to Crowley, who kicks long centre-half forward, but the Vicks can raffle it. Ingram there, late on the scene.
They just had no one back there, Rod, have they, across that half-forward line, Queensland?
No, they've fallen down there. As we've said throughout the call, they've probably had their fair share of play, but they've not been able to convert. This is an impressive-looking move by the Victorians. Rainsford.
Tackle.
Well tackled.
Excellent tackle.
And the free kick going to Dick Foss. That's 2 of them. There's 2 of them in the team, Robert and Danny. That was Danny